So on the Town 1949, I watched my beta cassette version of On the Town probably over 100 times because I had quite a crush on Frank Sinatra. Not Gene Kelly because he was far too suave for me and he clearly had practiced those lines way too many times. But Frank Sinatra was so deliciously awkward and so oblivious to Betty Garrett's love for him. And just in case you don't have memorized all of Frank Sinatra's love scenes from the film, I do, and I'm going to reenact for you what happened right before the song that I'm about to sing. So, we're on top of the Empire State Building, all right? And there's a beautiful New York skyline right behind Betty Garrett and Frank Sinatra. They're in the exact same frame, this entire scene. It's the way it should be done. So Frank Sinatra at a telescope. Gee! There's the which bridge? Gee, there's the George Washington Bridge, and there's the music hall. Oh, Hildy, why didn't I come up here sooner? I wasted my whole day away. Betty Garrett. Well, thanks a lot. Oh, no, gee, Hildy, I didn't mean that. And then he kind of twists his sailor hat in his hand, all cute like. Honest, you're the prettiest cab driver I ever did see. Well, tell that to your guidebook. Means a whole lot more to you than I do. Oh, no, Hildy. Then he looks down at the guidebook and tosses it over the railing. There. Oh, Chip, you care.
And her underscoring.
Well, why didn't you tell me sooner?
Oh, gee, Hildy, I don't know.
I'd like to whisper sweet nothings, the kind that everyone knows. But my thoughts get mangled, and all my words get tangled. But since you asked me, here goes. You're awful, awful good to look at, awful nice to be with, awful sweet to have and hold. You're nothing, nothing if not lovely, nothing if not dazzling, nothing but pure gold. You're cheap, dear, you're frightening me when you say that you might go away. You're boring into my heart to stay. You're cheap, dear, cheap at any price, dear, cheap for such a diamond, cheap for such a pearl. What I said before, I'll say again, you're awful nice to be your girl. You're old, dear, old with worldly wisdom, old like Gorgonzola, old like vintage France champagne. You're so kinda charming, so kinda witty, so I can't explain. Can't stand you, I can't stand you to be on some fella's arm. I can't see me with another guy. What are you? Thanks. You're cheap, dear, cheap for such a diamond, cheap for such a, that's not the words, but this is the one that nobody ever sings. So I'll say again what I said before. You're awful nice to say. You're mine. Oh, Chip.